Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being and sustainable development 2022, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence and UN Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030. In collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute and Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. So before we start our session, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
The blessings of Almighty, we shall continue to today's session. Today, we are commemorating various days. Most importantly, World PR Day. PR in short is Public Relations Day, with the tagline Trust, Truth and Transparency, and is having the social media handles at World PR Day and hashtag WPRD. As we all know, July 16, a dedicated day to PR. First time ever, practitioners around the world are dedicating July 16th every year to the recognition and celebration of public relations and communications and building a unified global agenda towards making the world understand and utilize PR better. We know the PR plays a crucial role in administration. That's how we come to know about various programs, policies, schemes of various governments, organizations to the common man and to the public. PR acts as a bridge between a citizen and the government and a public and organization. So public relations is a professional course and are professionals across the world and are governed and are by various code of conduct, ethics, practice, by various professional associations in different nations, as well as we have international organizations, professional associations, which guide, train, and regulate the profession and impart education on various lines. So that's in brief. And we are another event that we are commemorating today is World Snake Day. 16th July 2022 is celebrated as World Snake Day to spread awareness about these highly misunderstood reptiles and the indispensable role they play in the biosphere. So we are having the topic today as debunking common myths and human-snake conflict. So before we get into the topic, so let's take up one brief session by Mary Florence Freda on HIV and AIDS. Then we will go on to commemorating both the events. So Mary ma'am, you can unmute yourself.
Good evening, sir. I'm going to do on HIV/AIDS and education and prevention. This paper I had presented in the National Indian Society of Professional Social Work for the award of best social work in the field of disabilities. And my co-authors is Dr. Janet Parmeshwaran. She is a HOD of Social Welfare Department, Kidwai Hospital, Bangalore. And my first definition is discovery of AIDS. The first report in June 1981 from the Center of Disease Control in Atlanta, Georgia, was of 5 young homosexuals in Los Angeles suffering from a rare lung infection due to a protozoan one-cell microorganism called Piniotis carni pneumonia, PCP. In the same year, New York and California reported a rare skin cancer called Cassopy carcinoma in 2026 previously healthy homosexual. Review of the world literature showed a case of PCP, a female Danish surgeon in Zare in 1977, and a Canadian nun who had worked for 29 years in Hatay in 1979. The task force was set up by the Centers for Disease Control, Atlanta federal agency set up to monitor and control AIDS in 1981. This was the discovery of AIDS. Now the incidence of AIDS. AIDS was reported from all continents by mid-1985. The number of cases in the world was estimated to be above 15,000, with the highest number of 10,000 in USA as far as 24th April 1985. For on a per million population rate 1985, the rate of USA is 42, UK is 31, Denmark is 8, and Switzerland is 7.9, and France is 5.6. Canadian 8 cases, 206 UK 8 cases, 6 Japanese 8 cases, and 6 Japanese cases, 84 Australian AIDS cases, and 1,226 European AIDS cases were reported. In September 1987, over 41,000 people have been diagnosed with AIDS in the US. Are women, 50% of these women are Black, 25% are Spain, and 23% and are Caucasians. AIDS virus is transmitted primarily through blood and semen. Computer projection studies showed that 10,000 new cases in the Western world were reported in 1986 because of the long interval between infection and the appearance of symptom in AIDS and the low attack frequency. The precise number cannot be known with certainty. Initially, it was confined to certain highly risk group. For example, practicing homosexual, sexual, bisexual men, intravenous drug abusers has been shown to the capable of affecting all groups in the community. A bit of small numbers so far. Only through public education change is sexual behavior scientific, and AIDS is a serious and potential fatal disease according through infection through with the virus variously called HIV, HTLV, 111, human T cell, traumatic virus type LAV, and lipodontic associated virus, and ERV AIDS related virus. The victim suffers irreparable damage to his body immune system and become susceptible to unusual cancers and severe infection. What is AIDS? The AIDS causes a breakdown on the body of immune system being vulnerable to the infection. Cancers which normally do not affect healthy people. There is currently no care for the immune deficiency itself, but there are limited treatments, infections, and cancers. A stands for acquired is conducted, not genetic or inherited. T stands I stands for immune, is power to resist disease, and D stands for deficiency, that is insufficiency, and S stands for syndrome, is a number of complaints and signs indicates of a particular disease. ARV, HIV, uh, triple one virus is recently discovered virus belonging to retrovirus group. The first retrovirus was discovered in 1909 and was shown to have cancerous potential to the lympha. HIV triple one was identified in 19 by Robert Galvo, USA. ARV was isolated by Leslie in San Francisco. Three names were referred to name closely related to retrovirus group. The HIV triple one has no name because it is related to HTLV and HIV triple one, which cause leukemia, cancer of the white cells of the blood. Nature of AIDS. Damage of the immune system by the AIDS virus. The AIDS virus does not affect the innate immunity which is present from birth, but attacks principally the acquired community. The HTLV triple one virus, as its name implies, liplotropic. That is, it attacks the T helpers cells with a reversible of the T4 T8 ratio abnormalities of B cell infections, in which B cells are unable to create antibodies against new antigens, altered infections formation, and reduced number of malformations has been also found. The defect is cellular immunity results in the AIDS victim developing unusual cancers and life-threatening inflammations which do not normally occur in healthy individuals. What are the symptoms of cancer? Persistent widespread swollen limb glands called persistent generalized hydrophthalmia, especially in the mid-cervical arms, axilla, and the Crognis lymphoglands. The glands are mobile, firm, and painless, size greater than the diameter, and last 3 months to 4 years. They are they are in the best best two genital sites. Unexplained fever, chill, and drenching night sweat lasting longer than several weeks. Unexpected profound tiredness for several weeks. Unexpected weight and appetite loss of weight that is 10 to 4.5 kgs or 10% body weight within 2 months. Chronic diarrhea for longer than a week, no obvious cause, shortness of breath and a dry cough for several weeks, flu or raised pink or purple rashes on the skin, mouth and eyes, they are painless and not itchy. The the thick white coating of the mouth or throat, three itchy white spots on the male and female private part, white discharge from the anus or vagina due to fungal infection. And what are the causes of AIDS? One is blood transfusion. AIDS can be acquired by blood transfusion. All donated blood is now tested for the AIDS, and AIDS enriching in those have to be have no longer the history of transmission and blood and 5 years of the diagnosis system. Needles are important. Needle of blood transmission. Needles are need for insufficient acupuncture should preferably be disposable or suitably sterilized. Drug users. Intravenous drug users are prone to AIDS. 51% of the women who have AIDS have been IV drug users, and over half of these women have already died. Women who use IV drugs are at great risk of AIDS, and if they share needle, having sex with men who take drugs and place women at risk, anyone who has have shared a contaminated IV drug, and since 1977 is a risk for AIDS. Since people may transmit AIDS without showing symptoms, sharing needles with someone who appears healthy is not safe. Sexual transmission. AIDS can be transmitted through sexual contacts. It's acquired by having sex with infected partner. 27% of the women who have AIDS acquired it having sex with infected males. AIDS is transmitted in semen entering the vagina and rectum. Infected women can also transmit the virus to men through intercourse. The infected men can transmit AIDS without showing symptoms. Tears. It has isolated by national by scientists at the National Institute of Health, a 33-year-old woman with AIDS, but who otherwise had no eye complaint. However, tear samples from 6 other AIDS patients were either negative or doubtful for the virus. Saliva. AIDS virus can be isolated in the saliva or sufferers and their contacts through kissing and very likely spread with dry kissing through intimate kissing cannot be ruled out. These cases must be the care through pregnant mothers. The risk is nearly 100%. The virus passes through the placenta, which meditates between the mother and child secretly in the mother's milk and getting on to the baby. And accidental by infection. Epidemiological studies worldwide have documented in that sexual transmission accounts for about 80% of the HIV infection load, and perinatal transmission in 5 to 10%, pressing the amount to 20,000 deliveries occur in seropositive women, and a third of all the 6,000 HIV infected patients are born in India every year. The estimated prevalence of accidental HIV inflammation is very low than 1 of the 1,000 infection. How can we control it? Prevention is better than cure. Precautions should be taken so that we may not become a victor of killer disease AIDS. Certain precautions should be taken to prevent and control the spread of AIDS. Reduction of impact. Creating awareness for understanding and compassion, provide adequate counseling, provide community family support, prevent discrimination, provide for confidentiality. Measures recommended for controlling the incurable disease. Education should be given by social workers and high-risk groups, avoiding sexual contacts with suspects, high-risk groups of AIDS, avoiding multiple sex partners for infected persons, using disposable syringe and needles for drug users. High-risk groups and their sexual contacts should not donate blood, semen, or organs. Blood donors should be provided with information in AIDS, if possible, a declaration that no AIDS previously at each infected person should be avoid intimate kissing or oral gentle contact. Education of health care workers on observance of safety precaution, screening with informed consent of all blood, semen, organ donors for exposure to the AIDS virus. Precautions caused by the healthcare workers and while treating the AIDS patient. Gloves should be always be worn during handling of AIDS blood secretion, excision, and object soiled by them. Dentists have been advised to wear gloves. Gowns should be worn while wherever clothing may be contaminated with blood. The gown should be disposed properly. Hands should be washed thoroughly with soap and water before and after patient contact, as well as the contact with articles soiled with patient's blood or body fluids. Mask should be worn when cooking after 8% or respirates or who cough frequently. Googles are to be born when body fluid secretion to be scrapped into air. For example, during the teeth of AIDS patient by the dentist, should the face be splashed with blood and the lips of the mouth shall be gently rinsed with water. Great care should be taken to avoid being pricked by a needle or cut by an instrument or having an open wound contaminated with the body or fluids of AIDS patient. Blood semens are to be leveled properly and accidental skills cleaned immediately with the distinct household bleach. Contaminated articles, for example, linen, should be placed leak-proof bag was labeled conspicuous risk. All instruments of AIDS should be properly sterilized before reuse. Needles should be placed directly into a puncture-resistant disposable container and labeled disposable should be used. Extreme precautions should be exercised to pricks to avoid meaning and lead. Cleaning and use needles. What is the conclusion? AIDS is a serious and potential fatal illness according to acquired through illness through a virus variously called HTLV 111 on LAV or ARV. It is infunging with the continent slowly and steadily. The causes of AIDS are numerous, so the people should be educated in such a way that they can understand what AIDS is and take precautions to prevent its spread. The government has also taken steps to provide education about sex to the young generation. A module developed, a training module for training student, youth, and organization on HIV/AIDS prevention has been developed by the National Saving Scheme, Department of Youth Awareness, technical assistance from NACO and WHO. We want to standardize the training components in the university talk states. The model having 5 sections: HIV/AIDS issues and medical facts, human sexuality, psychosocial impact of AIDS, prevention and preventive behavior, and communication skill and action plan development. Written is instructional format. The training schedule is entirely participative. Efforts are currently on to adapt it to non-student youth to translate into regional languages. Network for the Northeast. A meeting was held in late July at NACO to bring together various parties working in the Northeast. The objectives of this meeting ensued working with common programs and activities through shared expertise, experience, outputs such as training and communication materials and planning strategies. The activities should be covered who include treatment, counseling, training, and community level interventions which would be benefit to all. Training and manpower development. The government has formulated a short-term and long-term strategy for training and manpower development under the blood safety program. Under the short-term 10 training institutes imparting short training courses in different regions of the country will be augmented. Training modules are being prepared to facilitate the process. The target to train 608 medical officers, 608 blood bank technicians, drug inspectors, and donor motivated through short-term orientation training courses. Objectives of the education for AIDS: to prevent transmission of HIV infection, to provide psychosocial support for those who have already infected to their families. Necessity for education on AIDS. It's important because infection with HIV is lifelong. A person can avoid acquiring HIV infection or transmitting it to others by changing behavior. Awareness of HIV information can prevent a misunderstanding and discrimination. That's all, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mary ma'am. the insightful session.
I have one personal experience, sir. Actually, I worked from 2009 to 2016 Seva Clinic. There, that clinic is managed by the Soch Textiles person, Manu Chatlani, sir. He is having HIV/AIDS clinic in Bangalore in Dispensary Road. Actually, there the people who are coming for ART, antiretroviral therapy in Bangalore. It is given in St. John's, Martha's, Victoria Hospital, and Baptist Hospital. Actually, that ART tablet format is like if you take that HIV ART tablet morning 8 o'clock, sharp you should take 8 o'clock, and the night 8 o'clock, same time you should take. 1 minute it goes also, that virus will infect your body. So the timing is very important in the taking the tablet. So I worked with that organization, and personally my own tenant is a HIV/AIDS organization. I have given rent. In that, my madam is there. My friend's mom, she's a leading social worker in Bangalore city. Her name is Jyoti Kiran. She works for AIDS Action Aid. It's a HIV/AIDS organization. It is organization which works for the widow women who have lost their who are husbands are HIV. They've lost. They did not know that their husbands are infected. They all died, and this group, this organization works for the widow of HIV men, and every month. Third Saturday they're giving ration, and first Saturday they're having women's meeting, and they go to villages, and they have two health workers, two social workers, and one coordinator, and they go and preach in the different parts of Bangalore, and they're having 25 NGOs to support. And during the pandemic time, during Corona time, they got a support from the KESAPS, that is Karnataka State AIDS Prevention Society. It donated ration for this NGO. It's a leading HIV NGO in Bangalore. So it got 2 lakhs ration for this NGO, and they distributed to 20,000 people in my own building, sir. So my friend's mom, Jyoti Kiran, is the leading person. Now also, she's first she was taken the only one floor. Now she's doing HIV/AIDS counseling in this one, for especially for HIV widows. So that's my interest. I took this topic and I presented this topic in the NIMANS forum also. And still my madam is there in our building since 2005. The year I finished, year I was in third sem of MSW. So through that only I got the lot of interest, and our whole building is rented for this NGO, sir. That is my learning experience from the HIV patients.
Thank you, Marima, for sharing. So participants, if you have any queries, you can unmute yourself and ask, or you can share in chat box. If you have any queries, observations, comments, feel free to share. Okay, in the meanwhile, we will continue with other sessions.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am, and we wish you all the success for your future endeavors. So, in the meanwhile, you can keep
Thank you
sharing
very much,
your
sir.
observations, comments, queries in chat box while the session is going on. So, we will take it up at the end of the session. So today, as we are commemorating 2 events, as we already discussed, so let's look into a video to understand the insights of the commemorative events.
He's just been bitten by a Russell's viper. With over 1 million bites happening across the country annually, this scenario plays out hundreds of times a day. We wanted to get to the root of this conflict to be able to solve this problem. And that's why we delved into the life of the Russell's viper. India accounts for about 1/3 of all the snakebite-related deaths in the world. That's about 50,000 people dying from snakebite every year. Almost 200,000 people suffer from a permanent loss of life function. They could lose a limb, tissue damage, kidney failure, or just fall into debt because it's so expensive to treat. What makes matters even worse is that snakebite is an affliction that's faced by rural, low-income groups. People in agricultural fields, farmers, face the brunt of this entire issue. Over the last couple of decades, a lot of research has been done on venom, anti-venom, the clinical aspects of snake bites, even the epidemiological aspects where we know where people are and what they're doing when they get bitten by snakes. But nobody is actually looking at what snakes are doing, why they're there in the first place, and whether there's any possibility of changing this entire situation. So we set out to understand snake behavior and natural history within an agricultural landscape so that we could figure out if there was a way to save snake lives and people's lives. Amongst the handful of venomous snakes that are medically significant in India, the Russell's viper stands out. The Russell's viper hides and camouflages itself both to hide away from predators as well as capture its prey. This makes it very dangerous for people because people find it hard to see and inadvertently step on it or pick it up by mistake, and this leads to snake bites. This is the reason why we've actually chosen to work with this species for our radiotelemetry work. In order to conduct a statistically and scientifically sound project, we need to be able to follow the same snakes every day. So we need to head out, catch wild snakes, bring them in, surgically implant a transmitter into the snake, and once it's healed, release it back into the wild exactly where we found it. The surgery involves first cleaning the snake completely, then anesthetizing the snake with a gaseous anesthesia. We then find a point about 75% down the length of the snake and then separate the membrane so the transmitter can fit smoothly inside the coelomic cavity. By tracking these snakes every day, we get to know how far the snake has moved, what kind of place it chooses, whether it's coming close to humans, whether humans are coming close to it, and whether there's a high risk or not of conflict. Being out in the field every day has also enabled us to work with the community. We're getting to understand the difficulties and problems they face and why they're in so much danger. One of the big issues that we found was that they have to walk around at night in the dark, and they just do not have the light to keep them safe. We felt that this was a simple problem to solve, so we brought in solar lanterns and distributed them to farmers within our study area. We've received really good feedback about these lanterns. People have been using them at night, and a couple of them have even spotted snakes while using these lights. Most people get bitten below the ankle, and we felt that this would be easily solved if we just gave people gumboots. So we brought in 200 pairs of gumboots that have been distributed to the farming community within our study area. These small gestures have helped the community to trust us. They now see that although we care about the snakes, we're focused on mitigating human-snake conflict. Our team has put in a lot of work and a lot of hours into tracking these snakes every day for almost 2 years now. To make this project truly scientifically robust and give us the answers that we need to more than double the number of snakes that we are tracking now and increase the number of teams that are working on these snakes every day. This is going to take a lot of resources and a lot of manpower. The invaluable support of the Forest Department and the local community, we're well poised to find a solution to this problem. The next phase is going to be critical. We now need resources to help us scale up the project so that we will be able to find the solutions that will save thousands of lives.
So when we look at the problem, the complexity of the problem, and when we simplify the problem and understand and focus on solution rather than the problem, we can find simple solutions. We can see in this video how they were able to address these challenges by providing lanterns and as well as the footwear. So maybe we need to coexist with the environment with the species, because they are contributing a lot to biodiversity and also to biosphere. Without snakes, what would happen? The pest will continue to grow. There will be imbalance in the species, and that will in fact affect the ecosystems, and that imbalance of ecosystem will also lead to the imbalance of species. And not only that, due to time constraint, we are not getting into detail, but these things are contributing to the environment in a large scale. And snakes are very friendly, useful to the farmers also, because they consume rats and various other things which otherwise, and other pests which otherwise could have spoiled the crops. So they also act as a control mechanisms, natural control mechanisms of pests in the crops and fields. So let's watch another video.
How we think about snakes is limited to what we've been taught. Snakes are mysterious, silent, and stealthy predators that are very effective at what they do. Snakes are masters of camouflage. They blend into their surroundings, often remaining invisible even when you are staring right at them. Snakes have amazing, unique adaptations to this limbless lifestyle that seems so foreign to humans. It's easy to interpret these differences in the worst possible way. The lidless eyes of snakes, unblinking, seem threatening to many people. A rattling rattlesnake, a snake who is fearing for his life, is often perceived as angry or aggressive. Negative perceptions about snakes are reinforced by myth and media. In every story, book, or movie in which a snake appears, they're the villain, the evil one. If there's a news story involving a snake in someone's yard or out on the trail, the snake is the unprovoked aggressor. And snakes need our help. They haven't escaped the worldwide extinction crisis. They're threatened by climate change, habitat degradation and loss, and exploitation. Like all wildlife, snakes are an important part of our community and a vibrant, functioning planet. But negative attitudes about snakes may be the biggest barrier to their conservation. It's difficult to gain public support when you aren't perceived as cute and cuddly, and everyone thinks you are out to get them. Advocates for Snake Preservation, or ASP, wants to show you a different side of snakes. Did you know that rattlesnakes can be carrying mothers? They give birth to live young and stay with their kids for the first couple weeks of their lives. Not only do they care for their own kids, they will sometimes babysit their neighbors' kids too. The first litter of snakes born at a nest shared by multiple mothers may be cared for by one of the still pregnant females while the new mother rests. Snakes can be persistent suitors. A male may track a female for days, and once he finds her, will stay with her, courting her and guarding her from other males for days or even weeks. Snakes are effective predators, not only of rodents and other mammals, but fish, amphibians, and other reptiles, including lizards and even other snakes. Snakes are also an important source of food for many predatory birds, mammals, and other reptiles. Snakes can also live rich social lives. We found in our research that Arizona black rattlesnakes are actually choosy about who they hang out and bask with. They have some close associates, or what we'd call friends, and other snakes that they avoid. Stories like these engage people in a way that simply stating facts and figures do not. In 2014, we founded ASP to promote compassionate conservation and coexistence with snakes by illustrating cool snake behaviors with multimedia stories. We share them on our website, social media, presentations, and events. While education and changing attitudes are the heart of our work, we also take action and advocate on issues that can't wait for long-term strategy, and continue our research to provide a clearer picture of what snakes are really like. We changed the conversation on rattlesnake roundups, killed the Arizona snake shooting bill, and have helped thousands of people learn to coexist with their snake neighbors in the yard and on the trail. ASP isn't just 1, 2, or 3 people. It's all of us, working together for a world where snakes are respected and appreciated instead of feared and hated. Won't you join us?
So with this video, we can see how useful are the snakes for the environment, for the humans as well. Yeah, Moto G, do you have any query? You can share in chat box, or let me unmute you. Yeah, do it. You are unmuted. Do you have any query? Okay, if you have any query, you can use chat box. Okay, let's watch another video of an NGO who are working on snakes conservation. Okay, there is some technical problem with the video. Okay, we will move on to some basic facts of snakes. Then we'll move on to as we have seen. Snakes play a critical role in maintaining the ecological balance, acting as a link in the food chain, and their role is irreplaceable. They snakes as predators, as prey, as biological pest controllers, as a source of life-saving biological compounds and medicine, and as model organisms, they play various roles and has significant importance in the society, community, and also in the environment. As predators, snakes occur in various sizes with diverse prey preference. Insects, birds, amphibians, reptiles, small and larger mammals, etc. Apart from squamates, scaled reptiles, including snakes, we have no other class in our animal kingdom with such an elaborate prey base. Therefore, a healthy population of snakes is a prerequisite to have a healthy and well-balanced population of other animals. Snakes as prey form a staple diet of other predators, predatory birds, felinus, canids, etc. Hence, their healthy population is crucial to ensuring a sustainable population of tertiary consumers. And snakes as biological pest controllers, rodents are responsible for revenue losses to the tune of several hundred crores of rupees each year because they damage standing crops and devour grains. In India, it is estimated that we lose 7 to 8 million tons of food grains every year due to rodents costing over 700 crores rupees. So most common snakes are specialist rodent eaters, actively hunting them and even from within their burrows, thereby keeping their population under check. Snakes as a source of life-saving biological compounds and medicine. Snake venoms are complex mixtures of bioactive molecules which have helped in the discovery of life-saving drugs like captopril, tirofiban, eptifibat, etc. Anti-snake venom serum to treat snake bite is also manufactured from the raw venom. As model organisms, snakes with many advances in the fields of genetics, evolutionary biology, etc. Snakes help us to understand ecology, biogeography, evolutionary relationships, and our Earth history. So let's briefly look into what are various myths associated with snakes. So getting stung by snake's tail will cause one's limbs to swell up like a tree trunk or shrink drastically. The fact is snakes do not have any stinging mechanism on their tail. Therefore, accounts of rat snakes or any snakes stinging with their tail are untrue. And another myth, red sand boa is also known as two-headed snake, is believed to be alternate between its heads every 6 months. The fact is red sand boa is a non-venomous and slow-moving species. It is naturally endowed with a blunt tail, which the snake uses to mimic its head upon sensing a threat. Another myth is owning a red sand boa will make a person immensely rich, as these snakes are capable of unearthing treasures. The animal is of great medicinal value. The red sand boa is a fossorial snake. It lives underground. The snake therefore buries into the soil for shelter and prey. Contrary to the superstitious beliefs, the snake is incapable of finding treasure. Also, There is no scientific evidence of the snake's medicinal properties, and such beliefs are prevalent among quack practitioners. And another myth, being licked by a common sand boa will cause irregular patches or tattoos on a person's body. Snakes constantly flicker their tongue to sense the chemicals in the air and gauge their surroundings. Their lick does not transmit any allergies or skin disorders. Needless to say, the common sand boa is far from being a tattoo artist. Another myth, the only cure for a bite from a checkered keelback is to drink water from the water body habitated by it. Checkered keelbacks are known to live in aquatic habitats ranging from rivers, ponds, lakes, drains, and even sewages. Although the snake bite by itself isn't harmful, ingesting water from such stagnated bodies may result in complications. Another myth, green vine snake, a tree-dwelling snake, has a tendency to bite on the eyes and yank the eyeballs off unsuspecting humans who venture too close to it. The green vine snake employs camouflage with its slender green body and narrow head to source its prey. The snake strikes out at the incoming threats from its bench on trees, resulting in several reports of people getting bitten on the face. However, there have been no proven accounts of the snakes gouging out a person's eyes as alleged by common hearsay. There is another myth, the most sensationalized of the snake species, the spectacled cobra, is believed to possess a nagamani on its head and have shape-shifting powers. While human transfigurations and a diamond crown make fanciful depictions on the reel, such instances have no scope in the real life. And one more myth, folklore has painted the spectacled cobra as a mystical being with a dietary preference for milk and having a vengeful nature. The cognitive capabilities of snakes are not developed enough to accommodate complex processes such as memory, emotions, revenge, and so on. Further, as snakes are reptiles, they do not suckle their young. Therefore, they do not recognize milk as a dietary choice and are lactose intolerant. And there is another popular myth, if you kill a snake, its mate will avenge its death. A snake's cognitive capabilities, as discussed, are limited to food, water, shelter, reproduction, and occasional fights to defend its territory. Their primeval brains are not developed to process complex emotions like love, enmity, revenge, etc. During the mating season, a female snake may release pheromones or sex hormones along with other bodily fluids upon its death, attracting the males from the vicinity. However, these snakes move away when they find the female dead. So these are few myths, and we have seen in the first video also, every year thousands of people lose their lives due to snake bite related accidents every year. So, and the snake bites are also increasing, and the snakes do not bite for revenge or for fun. They bite only if they are threatened or if we cause any physical injury. So we can certainly avoid snake bites most of the time. So how to prevent snake bites? Prevention is always better than cure. Avoid snake bites being appraised on the following points. Around 80% of the people get bitten on their feet. So please look at your path, watch your step, and walk slowly when you are walking in areas where snakes are seen frequently. Do not walk in dark places during the night. If you have to, please ensure there is proper lighting or use of torch. People living in huts should ensure that they are not sleeping on the ground During colder nights, few snakes may slither inside the warmer huts and get under our blankets or beds. In our sleep, when we accidentally place our arm or leg on them, we get bitten. If you have no alternative but to sleep on the ground, ensure that your hut is constructed properly without any holes or gaps. Trim weeds and undergrowth to increase visibility and do not store materials on the ground. If left undisturbed for a long time, snakes would have undisturbed space to live. Firewood or other materials should be placed on a platform that is much higher than the ground. While picking up unused material from the ground, ensure that you are not exposing your bare hands near the holes or gaps where snakes might be hiding. People have been bitten in the past when they were removing construction bricks or while lifting haystacks. So use indoor lavatories to attend nature calls during wee hours. Ensure that you utilize a torch or using proper lighting. Do not try to hold or handle snakes. So the symptoms of snake bite. Despite exercising caution, sometimes we fall victim to snake bites. Snake bites are mostly reported on hands and limbs, 80% of the cases. Depending on the species, symptoms and progression of envenomation may be neurotoxic or hemotoxic or cytotoxin or myotoxic, etc. So general symptoms might be based on different systems. Central nervous system, it may be dizziness, fainting, increased thirst, headache, blurriness in vision, and fever and severe pain, and rapid pulse, low blood pressure, severe shock, and wound site, we may find bleeding, fang marks, discoloration, burning sensation, swelling, and there may be breathing difficulty, and other skin sites, bleeding spots, numbness, tingling, sweating, and in stomach, we may have nausea, vomiting, and intestinal area, it can be affected with diarrhea, and muscular convulsions, loss of coordination, weakness can happen. One or more symptoms can be seen. Commonly reported symptoms of cobra and king cobra bites can see rupture of skin, bleeding from bite site, immediate localized pain, sharp and throbbing pain, and discoloration around the bite site within 1 hour, and localized edema, swelling around the bite site within 1 hour, and nausea and vomiting, drowsiness, drooping eyelids, and paralysis of eye muscles, and respiratory paralysis, and blistering of the bite site if treatment is delayed. So similarly, each depending on the type of snake, there may be different kind of symptoms that are commonly reported. So what we have to do when someone is bit by a snake? In the event of a snake bite, do it right. Reassure the bite victim. Panic leads to an increased heart rate, resulting in quicker circulation of venom throughout the body. So stay calm and composed. Immobilize the bite site. Keep the affected limb stationary. If required, use a splint or a bandage to provide support. Do not restrict the blood flow by tying cloth or ligatures. Never cut at the bite site or try to suck the venom out. Go to hospital. Reach any private or government or multi-specialty district hospital at the earliest, preferably within an hour of the bite. Do not waste time by visiting quacks. Tell your symptoms to the doctor. Doctors may administer the life-saving anti-venom based on symptoms of the snake bite. Provide them a clear account of your symptoms along with other health ailments, if any. So these are the do's and don'ts. Do not panic. Fear leads to mismanagement of snake bites. Nervousness or panic could increase your heartbeat, thereby facilitating the venom flow into the bloodstream. Do not cut the wound or try to suck the venom out. You must have already figured out that it happens only in the movies, especially with the heroine, and almost always it is the hero to rescue. So cutting the wound area could create a new entry site for the venom to pass through the bloodstream. And sucking the venom out could also prove fatal. Fine lacerations in the gum cavity of the rescuer could be the new channel through which venom from the victim's body might enter into the rescuers. So do not try to suck the venom out and do not try to kill the snake. The snake bite treatment in India is chiefly symptomatical. That is, doctors would treat you based on your symptom. Therefore, identifying the snake that bit you might be helpful, but there is no need to produce the defendant. Do not exert yourself after a bite. Physical activity increases the blood flow in the body. So do not waste crucial time by visiting a quack. We do not have any medically proven treatment for snake bites in other systems. So always approach the proven medical systems for treatment. So with this short detail, we shall conclude this World Snake Day, and let's protect the snakes, and let's all contribute to the conservation of snakes, which are very crucial for the environment and also in preserving the biodiversity. Now we have another event commemorating today, is the World PR Day. It is Public Relations Day. So World PR Day has been proposed by the global community of public relations and communication professionals coming together to celebrate the power of influence and potential of PR. So PR is more than a terribly misunderstood, poorly appreciated, and then poorly remunerated practice. Business, countries, and people do not just practitioners, but themselves a huge disservice if they continue to fail to see the PR for what it is and should be, a strategic aspect of business and governance, invaluable in building relationships, preventing crises, achieving business objectives, pushing national interest, and preventing the kind of confusion that could run a company or lead nations to war. So public relations and communications are essential not only to brand management and business success, they are also key to national orientation, political development, citizen education, and global peace. And we are at a point in our history when we must step back and pay attention. So practitioners need to answer a call of duty to help people, and the companies and the governments and the organizations communicate more honestly and responsibly. Government and organizations need to be more deliberate about using public relations to build and innovate and develop. Few professionals play as critical and central as role as communications. So, and it's time to rise up to the occasion. July 16th every year starting 2021 will be World PR Day. And PR Day is a unified global agenda towards making us and the world understand and utilize the PR better. So, World PR Day is an initiative of BHM UK. So that's in brief about the history and the organization which has proposed. And there are various organizations, associations across the world, like PRSA, that is Public Relations Society of America. It is celebrating 75th anniversary this year. I mean next year, but the entire year is being commemorated and will conclude in 2023. And we have Public Relations Society of India in India. It's one of the premier public relations society. And we have one more significant council, Public Relation Council of India. So let's briefly look into Public Relations Society of India. Public Relations Society of India, the National Association of PR Practitioners, was established in 1958 to promote the recognition of public relations as a profession and to formulate and interpret to the public the objectives and potentialities of a public relations as strategic management function. So the society functioned as an informal body till 1966, when it was registered under the Indian Societies Act of 1961 with headquarters in Mumbai. The father figure of the professional PR practitioners in India, Kali H. Modi, was the founder president of PRSI from 1966 to 1969. And chapters were launched in Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai and Kolkata till 1969. Earlier, in 1965, another professional body, the Public Relations Circle, was being founded and registered in Kolkata. It was the first ever association of professional PR practitioners in Eastern India and was doing commendable work. However, at the first All India PR conference in 1968 at the New Delhi, members of the Public Relations Circle, Kolkata, unanimously decided to disband the regional organization to strengthen the national body, thus forming the Kolkata chapter of PRSI in 1969. The management of the Public Relations Society of India is vested in the National Council, consisting of representatives elected by all the regional chapters. The members of the society are public relations practitioners from multinationals, government, public and private sector, academicians and PR consultants. So the membership of the society is open to any person and also to any firm, body, corporate or association of persons or an individual. Such membership take effect on admission and classification of the discretion of the National Council. Each application for the membership is forwarded by the regional chapter to the National Council for consideration with their recommendations regarding acceptance and classification, and forward the same to Secretary General for consideration of the National Council. So there are various categories like members, life members, associate members, honorary members and student members. So the society is recognized as the national PR organization by the International Public Relations Association and is one of the founder members of the Global Alliance of Public Relations and Communication Management. The regional chapters of the society regularly organize seminars, lectures, and discussions on various facets of public relations. In order to promote professional training, the chapters run with the collaboration of universities and colleges professional program on public relations for students, PR advertising, mass communication and journalism. PRSI today have 30 chapters and 3,000 strong membership. So April 21st is celebrated as National Public Relations Day, is a red letter day in the history of Indian public relations. It is because the National Public Relations Day is celebrated on this day all over the country since 1986. The first All India Public Relations Conference was organized in Delhi on April 21st, 1968. The theme of the conference was professional approach. This was a very significant public relations meet in our country when a professional approach was given to the public relations, a change from publicity, press agency information, besides adopting a code of ethics for PR profession. In fact, that was the beginning of professional public relations in India. Since then, PRSI had 26 All India PR conferences, including the 9th PR World Congress in Bombay in 1982 and the first Asia Pacific PR meet in Kolkata during January 1998 and International Public Relations Conference at Bangalore in 2022. The objective behind designating April 21st as National Public Relations Day is to focus attention on public relations function and public relations professionals in India who have an increasingly important role in the development of the country. Specific theme for the day is identified to organize events to highlight the issues of the selected theme. So this is as per the PRSI official sources. And PRSI has chapters almost across all important cities in India, and anyone if you would like to become a member, you can contact them and you can become a member if you are into any of these field, PR field or allied fields. Now, this is PRSI in India. When we look at the PRSA, that is Public Relations Society of America, which was born in 1947 when the American Council on Public Relations and the National Association of Public Relations Council merged to form the Public Relations Society of America. So PRSA has been through many changes over these 75 years and has marked milestones along the journey from establishing a strong network of chapters across the United States to creating a student-focused organizations, from establishing the PRSA Code of Ethics, revered for its critical guidance for PRSA members, to creating the APR, the most essential credential in the public relations world. PRSA has always led the way. So this year long, there are various milestones and various events. Those are organized as part of 75 years of celebrations, with the theme celebrating the power of influence. So for further information, you can visit the PRSA website or you can contact them. Apart from these two organizations, one more organization in India, Public Relations Council of India, is also a significant contributor in public relations. So Public Relations Council of India is a pan-India communication exchange forum with its presence in 38 Indian cities and towns. This premier network connects PR, media, commercial and public service advertisement, Marcom, academia in communication and students. PRCA provides industry professionals an opportunity to serve the community by encouraging high ethical standards in their respective areas of work. and is the first forum to offer accreditation to the professionals in the street. So this was started on 3rd April 2004. PRCA strikes to enrich professional development and aids networking opportunities to further cause of the profession, headquartered at Bangalore. So this is in brief about PRSI Day and public relations. And we need to understand one aspect. There are a lot of myths associated with these public relations and publicity. So both are not same. And PR effectively counters the nature of misconceptions, half-truths, which are often presented as a whole truth. Like the same is true for most of the wrongly held beliefs about public relations. So a public relations practitioner is not a publicist. A publicist generates and manages publicity for an organization or public figure. On the other hand, a public relations professional is an advisory consultant, a bridge builder who builds and maintains long-term relationships between an organization and its public. Unlike the publicist, the PR professional uses systematic tools and measurable approaches to create a two-way communication between a brand and its stakeholders that builds trust. Having established differences between public relations and publicity, another misconception seeks to place the need for public relations as one reserved for the big brands. This is false. As a company gets off the ground, public relations helps communicate key messaging and value propositions to stakeholders. Strategic media relations can position the business in a way that appeals to investors and garners trust from stakeholders. As the business grows, PR focus may shift to thought leadership and crisis preparedness and management. Public relations is necessary for every stage and size of a business, whether it's a big brand or not. And a publicly held opinion of public relations is that it is a practice focused only on building relationships with the media, writing press releases, and being at the bottom of the ladder in marketing communication. This is half truth because while public relations involves building relationships with the media and writing press releases, it involves more strategic communication and media relationship management. And the relationship between public relations and other forms of marketing communication is collaborative. We consider public relations isn't just marketing communication, but also a management function aimed at building positive relationships between an organization and its stakeholders. Its practice generates trust and credibility more than any other form of marketing communication. Therefore, to relegate it to the bottom of the marketing communications ladder is nothing short of ignorant. The notion of public relations is a field to cover track when things go wrong in organizations is another half truth. As earlier established, a big part of the public relations is crisis management. In fact, in the event of a crisis, an organization public relations team is the first responders and defense. In a digital world, public relations practitioners often have to adopt the always-on approach to monitoring the activities of the clients to handle crisis effectively. However, in doing so, the PR practitioner aims to restore trust and positive relationships between the organization and stakeholders. In times of crisis, the PR practitioner is ready and merely sets in motion already laid down crisis management structure. So public relations is a field that emphasizes trust and truth in its relationship with the media or other stakeholders. So the World PR Day 2022 theme, the need for the trust, truth and transparency in today's world, is a global platform that buttresses this. Among others, post-COVID, public relations has played an essential role in building trust between the organizations and their public. It also helped navigate the crisis of the pandemic and adapt to the new normal. Now, organizations are more aware of the importance of public relations, and practitioners are more vocal in their advocacy for their practice. As contributed by the editor. So we have come to end of the session. Before concluding, let's look into an aspect we have missed it. So International Communication Consultancy Organization, ICCO in short, is a very reputed organization in communications. And as we have seen, millions of public relation practitioners across the globe are set to celebrate the second edition of the annual World PR Day held today, that is July 16, 2022. We have seen that it is launched in 2021 last year to forge a global agenda of enlightening the world about the nobility and misconceptions around PR. World PR Day witnessed participation from thousands of practitioners, organizations, and public observers last year. So set aside as a day dedicated to truth, honesty, and reputation management in a way that is beneficial to all people across the globe. July 16 also honors Ivy Lee, one of the pioneers of public relations practice, who was born on the same date 145 years ago. So the second World PR Day will further advance conversations on the topical understanding and outlook of the practice. It will extensively spotlight the strengths, limitations, and potential of the profession, as well as the utilization of the new tools and trends, value propositions, and funding. So BHM founder and CEO Annie Adekunle said, "We decided to begin to have a tough, largely ignored conversations about PR last year, and we want to show once again how the practice has deeper connotations to how our world functions that it gets credit for. It is in our collective interest for the world to continue to understand the role of PR in shaping and inspiring not only business or governance across the globe, but critical human actions that can make or mar generations to come." As part of three-pronged activity, the 2022 World PR Day will feature #MyPRStory, an inclusive new media activity where every PR professional will be encouraged to share one unforgettable memory from their journey in the PR industry. The stories will help us to show the world the many facets of the PR practice and how they impact society. So that the event will also feature the PR Bible, a crowdsourced repository of PR resources and PR professionals across the world, a fireside chat on Twitter Spaces featuring top PR executives across the world to drive conversations and answer questions on trust, truth, and transparency will make up the third frame of the day activities. So in this event, various eminent speakers from across the globe from Chartered Institute of Public Relations and Director General of the Public Relations and Communications Association and International Communications Consultancy Organization and Chartered Institute of Public Relations and DNA, Brand Architects and PR Week and Emma Venani, GMA Worldwide. Others are speaking at this event. So PR practitioners and enthusiasts across the globe are encouraged to actively participate in the celebration by hosting formal events, global recognition, seminar, debates, workshops, webinars, and reading up and learning about PR through CIPR, PRSA, PRCA publications. So if Stephen Waddington, a World PRD Committee Advisor and the Managing Partner, Bad Singh, a professional advisory firm, said we urge practitioners to drive social conversations by sharing their thoughts about the value, opportunity, relevance, and future of PR profession on social media or publish blog posts and opinion editorials on their LinkedIn page or company websites. So participants can also add to the conversations by sharing videos of their PR experience on YouTube or Instagram by tagging at Word PR Day or using the hashtag WPRD. So in the first ever World PR Day celebration, BHM successfully propelled conversations around the world to extol the merit of PR practice. Conversations in the edition centered around the rise of digital communications over the years, the reductive view of PR scope of functions, and the common failure of organizations to attribute the results of PR activities to their top line. So BHM also drives the Global Day of Influence, an annual event launched in 2020 to raise awareness about the need to stop the abuse of influence. The events are part of the international PR firm's general commitment to continually propagate the appreciation of PR and its impact on the world. So with this, we are concluding today's session. If participants have any queries, feel free to unmute yourself or you can share in chat box. Sharing the feedback form in the chat box, kindly fill up the feedback form for your participation certificate. Participation certificate will be updated on the website within 15 working days. You can download your participation certificate by visiting the website. Website link has been shared in the chat box along with the feedback form. And as you know, we have sessions every day on different topics by different authors, speakers, presenters. So kindly do attend daily sessions. And we have also conferences on every Sunday from 11 to 5 and on weekdays 6 to 8 p.m. So kindly do attend, and you can join Facebook group, Telegram channel to receive updates. And you can also subscribe to our Google Calendar where you will receive automatic notifications and also email alerts on various events organized by us. So kindly fill up the feedback form before you leave the webinar. See you all tomorrow at the same time. Take care. Good night. So see you all tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Take care. Good night. Happy weekend.